What's up, guys? It's Benny. The war between Israel and Iran has been brewing for your lifetime, my lifetime, and for generations. Check out this article from the New York Times. Iran may be able to build an atomic bomb in 5 years, Israeli officials fear, from 1995. Got it? So this has been an op that has been run for quite a long time, and Israel, I guess, finally just decided to kick off World War III in the dark of night last night by bombing a bunch of Iranian military minds and nuclear scientists, decimating Iran's ability to defend itself from the air or the ground. President Trump publicly opposed Israel's strikes, and the administration has taken a stance that they were not a part of it at all. State media confirmed the death of top generals and nuclear scientists. But now Iran is striking back. The Israeli strikes were quite targeted, very sophisticated, and quite frankly, from a military perspective, very impressive, because what you would see is these little puffs of smoke, and you'd see reports that specific individuals had died. Now, these specific individuals, of course, were living in apartments like this, and they were able to bomb right through the door, literally hitting the bedroom. Again, it's pretty impressive. How was Israel able to do this? Israel was able to bomb individual apartments because Israel set up a entire drone facility deep inside of Iran, which activated by the Israeli Air Force, was able to shoot drones at specific targets as they were operating these drone vehicles from inside, again, of Iran. So crazy times, ladies and gentlemen. The leader of Iran wasn't going to take this. Of course, Iran has to respond, and respond they have right now. Zionist regime should anticipate severe punishment. By God's grace, the powerful arm of the Islamic Republic's armed forces won't let them go unpunished. Here we go. Rockets alert, real-time red alert. In Israel, there have been 2,500 rockets fired at Israel today. And now we are starting to see some of the footage of this barrage from Iran. Now, these are Scud missiles. These aren't particularly smart. These aren't smart targeting bombs. They're just fired in the direction of Israel. And there's hundreds of them fired at one time. Israel has the Iron Dome. That Iron Dome intercepts rockets, but some of them have been landing. Boom. Look at that right here in Tel Aviv. Crazy. This footage straight out of a modern warfare game. Look at that. Wow. Right into the skyscrapers. Insane. High-rise buildings on fire in downtown Tel Aviv, Israel. More Iranian missiles are on the way. Air raid sirens are blaring. 2 missiles have already made impact. You can see here a massive tower. Hopefully everyone was in a bomb shelter, obviously. I don't want war. I don't want people to get hurt. Look at this footage. This is insane. Look at this footage. This is just crazy. Do you see that? It's like, you can see that the cluster, right? They're getting a lot of them are getting intercepted, but the Iron Dome is failing to capture all of it. This is just wild. Here, let's watch. See there, downtown Tel Aviv on fire, buildings smoldering. Certainly, some of these Iranian bombs are hitting. I could say they're intended targets, but again, these aren't particularly sophisticated weapons. Here, watch. Here's the Iron Dome in action. It's intercepting some, and others are hitting. Others are landing. Gracious. The footage is wild. Here, watch this. See one just make impact. Boom. The Iron Dome, not perfect. Not a perfect targeting system. There's 2,500 rockets being fired. I mean, you know, like, Israel shot first, right? knew there'd be shooting back. And that's what's happening. But you don't typically get to see it from this angle. Crazy.
Against Iran yesterday or early this morning, and what may come ahead. There we're seeing one of the impacts in an apartment building in Tel Aviv. The building on fire, the entire facade of it torn off. But given the extent of the Israeli strikes and what we expect will be continued Israeli strikes, would you expect that the Iranians would continue to do this every day, or will they do?
You can see on various clips like this. Look at that. Jeez. I mean, it looks like it just looks like a movie, right? It looks like a movie. Barack Obama handed Iran $50 billion on pallets of cash. They used it to arm themselves. This is our tax dollars exploding in midair. This is literally the meme. Your tax dollars, somehow also your tax dollars. So we're funding Israel and we funded Iran in all this. You feel like a sucker yet? Hate your own government yet? It's amazing. The person who was the most right about this is J.D. Vance. I'll play that clip in just a second. Here's a photo from Tel Aviv impact site of a missile. Again, like pretty devastating. You can see obviously the side of a building completely and totally ripped off. Israeli air forces, defenses have been overwhelmed now. You can see that. At least France surrendered, right? At least France surrendered in all this. Can we just be thankful about that? It's just like it's a very different style of warfare, obviously. And it's one that you don't want to see. You don't want to see innocent lives lost on either side. That's our take. Okay. This was Iran last night. Some type of major sabotage munition. I don't know exactly what's going on here. It's like a big electrical fire, right? Electrical lines were cut off, but an explosion nonetheless. Iran's entire air defenses and nuclear weapons system totally and completely decimated last night. So I'll leave it to the comment section, obviously, to state, if they think somebody's in the right here. I don't. Frankly, I don't like wars, and I especially don't like wars that have the capacity to drag America in. And this is what J.D. Vance was saying early on in the 2024 cycle. Not early on. This is Vance correct, and he was right, and he predicted this. Here's Fox News' coverage of the bombs dropping on Tel Aviv with their reporter on the ground in Israel, Trey Yingst. Go.
Yeah, Martha, you could see those images from last hour as Iran launched not one but two ballistic missile barrages at this country. Israeli media reports there are at least 9 impact sites, and you could see at least one of them on that video as our cameras were live. And we saw these ballistic missiles streaming through the air, some of them slamming into the ground below here in central Israel. At the time, we could see air defense systems out at sea, off in the distance, and from the south, coming to work and try to shoot down some of this incoming fire. But it was so intense over Tel Aviv, we could hear the explosions here as the night sky lit up. Some of those missiles intercepted, raining missile fragments down below. According to local officials, there are a number of people who are lightly injured and at least one moderate injury. Most of the population tonight remains in bomb shelters over concerns about a third Iranian missile wave that could happen at any moment. And as we look forward tonight, this is not expected to end anytime soon, Martha. The Israelis still have fighter jets over the skies of Iran following last night's decision to launch a wide-scale operation against not only Iran's nuclear facilities, but also IRGC leadership, including Hussein Salami, the leader of the IRGC, and the top Air Force commanders. This was a decision made by Israel to not just send a message or to weaken Iran's nuclear facilities, but to start destroying them. And immediately upon that strike that started to take place, we were gathering information. One Israeli security source telling me that they tricked Iranian leadership into a meeting. They started to move things in a way that would force these officials to meet and prepare for a possible Israeli attack. But whenever they were meeting, they kept them there and then struck the location, killing nearly the entirety of the IRGC Air Force. I do want to just read you this statement that I received from an Iranian official on behalf of Iran's supreme leader. This official in Tehran speaking directly to Fox News saying, quote, "The armed forces will bring the vile regime to ruin. They will not escape unscathed from this crime. The Iranian nation can be assured there will be no negligence." And as we look at the possible Iranian response, the concern is that it won't only target major population centers here in Israel, like the city of Tel Aviv or Jerusalem, but also American bases and interests across the region. There are thousands of American forces. This is part of the reason that President Trump and the administration made that decision to remove non-essential personnel from the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. They sent a message to the dependents of other embassy officials and military officials across the region in places like Kuwait and Bahrain that they could voluntarily leave the region earlier this week. And it's because there was concern that the Iranians will launch missiles, drones, and rockets at U.S. bases and possibly embassies across the Middle East. And so tonight, Israel is bracing for the possibility of more response. And we do expect, according to Israeli sources that we've been talking with throughout the day, that these Israeli strikes will continue throughout tonight, targeting more nuclear facilities inside Iran and possibly even more officials. I've been talking with not only the Israelis, also the Iranians and the Qataris. The entire region is bracing for days of conflict ahead. Martha?
All right, Trey, thank you.